Hello students, today in this video we are going to do a very important writing task which is report writing. So let's see first what a report writing is. A report is an objective evaluation or analysis of an event. So it is the description where you have to give a factual description of an incident, where you have to keep in mind step by step you have to write down all the points. Next, your purpose should be clear while writing the report. Audience should be particular, it should be fixed, like you are writing the report for the newspaper. It may be of newspaper report writing, survey report or police reports, etc. While writing a report you have to remember some points. It should be factual. Don't add information or your own. Indirect speech and passive voice you have to use in report writing. It must be in third person. Avoid using pronouns like I, me and you in this. And in detailed description you have to answer these things: when, where, why, what, who and how. Let's see the format which you have to keep in mind always. Right, the format of the report writing, that is, first thing you have to write down is heading. Second you have to write down byline. There you have to write down the name of the reporter. Third line means byline is place. Byline number 2 is date and place you have to write down there. Next is opening part, means that is the body of the report. So there you have to start with the opening of the opening part. There you have to introduce the problem, that why you are writing this and when that event took place, or it may be accident, it may be function, it may be anything, right? So that the next you have to give the detail of the function, when it happened, where it happened, why it happened, what were the the function over there, or what happened there if it is a form of accident. Next, who, and the last one, how. And at the last you have to conclude your report, or you may write down this a conclusive statement also, where you can conclude your report with a warning, with an appeal or with a solution. So these are the things which you have to keep in mind. Now next we will see how many kinds of reports are there and what are the things which you have to keep in mind in different writing of the reports. Let's see how to write a newspaper report which shows an accident. So accident report, the points you have to remember: what, where, when and how, people and the vehicles involved, loss of life and property, details of rescue, scene of the accident, details of casualties, grant to families of killed, a comment on the negligence by the people or maybe of the government, and a recommendation on what is to be done. So these points you have to include in an accident report. Now what is the format of report writing, that we have to see. Box is not required in report writing, right? And the first thing you have to take care here is title or the heading in the middle. Title or the heading, it must be catchy heading. Next is byline. Here you have to write down byline. The name of the reporter you have to give here, like by reporter or ABC or whatever is there in your question. So accordingly you have to do. Next, here in third line you have to write down date and place. Date and place together you have to write down in this line third. Now you have to start the body of the letter. This is the body of the letter, and this you have to start with the opening paragraph, where you have to include this what, where, how, what was the date, time and what was the impact of that particular thing. Next is details. In para number 2 and para number 3 you have to give the details of the event being reported. It may be some eyewitness, what is the cause, what is the damage, what is the rescue, and what is the help given by the government. That you have to include in para number 2 and para number 3. And in last paragraph you have to write down the conclusion of the report. That is, here you have to give a remark as to how the event has impacted on the people and their life. So these actually this will give you 4 to 5 paragraphs, and each paragraph should consist for 4 to 5 lines. So that will go to 200 or 150 words. So that you have to keep in mind. Next we will do different report writings. So how we have to do, let's have a look. So here on the screen you can see an accident report. Let's see what the question says. Rishikesh is popular in India for its river rafting. A well-known rafting guide gets drowned in the river, saving 8 Mumbai tourists. Write a report to be published in a local daily covering this rafting mishap. Word limit is 150 to 200. So that you have to keep always in mind, the word limit and all. Now let's see on a screen. You can see first the heading is given here, heading with the byline. So what is the heading? Rafting guide drowns after saving 8 lives. So this is your heading, and the heading must always be catchy. One thing you have to keep in mind, whatever the letter limit is there, the word limit is there, the first letter of every word should be capital, right? Now in the second line you have done this by line. So in that by line you have to write down name of the person, and with that the designation, that staff reporter. Okay, then in the third line you have to write down date and place. Here date and place, and then you have to start with the content, and the content you have to start with the opening paragraph. And what is that opening paragraph? Where you have to briefly mention that what happened, where it happened, how, and most prominent consequences with date, time and its impact. So that you have to give in first paragraph, which we call the opening paragraph. See what is written here. A rafting guide drowned in the Ganga river near Rishikesh after saving 8 tourists, all residents of Mumbai. He was well conversant with the river and having more than 25 years experience of the swift flow of the river in Rishikesh. However, his heroism cost him his life. So this was the first opening paragraph. Next come to the second paragraph, where you have to give the details, right? So details like you have to give that eyewitness, or you have to include the cause here. You have to give the main event, damage, rescue operation, and which is what is the help given by the government. So let's see what is written. The mishap occurred at about 2 p.m. last Saturday, when the raft carrying the tourist turned turtle while going downstream in the river. All the 8 tourists were saved by 45 years old Rajesh Kumar, as he physically dragged them away from the fast filtering water. He managed to reach the last tourist to the shore, but collapsed and fell into the water. Again, due to exhaustion, by the time bystanders came to his rescue, too much water had gone into his lungs, causing asphyxiation. Last paragraph now you have to do, that is the paragraph of conclusion, right? So let's see what is written here. He has rushed to a government hospital in Rishikesh, where the doctors tried to revive him, but to no avail. After trying for half an hour, they declared him dead. Rajesh, who was a well-known rafting guide of the area, had been a guide for last 25 years. Government had ordered an inquiry into the mishap and announced a bravery award for him. He will always be remembered for his excellent devotion or duty. Let's see the type 2 of reports on events and functions. What the things you have to remember here that you have to take care. Let's see. First is value points to be used in reports or event functions. Number 1 is type of function or its name. Number 2 is day, date, time and place. Objective and main highlights of the program. Description of the event. Prize distribution if any. Conclusion. and comments about the quality of the program. In the type of function, you can give the name, then occasion, name of the designation, name or the designation of the chief guest, and objective of the highlight of the program, like inaugurations if any, right, and then chief guest address, what he told to, like what he spoke there, and then vote of thanks and contribution of the writer if any. Means this last point is not that much important, but you have to complete that with vote of thanks. Okay, so just take a screenshot of this and note down in your notebook. These are very important points to be followed in writing a report. See the sample of an event report, right? The question has been given to you. You are Ram or Reena of BPS International School, New Delhi. Recently, your school organized a culture show of art of a part of a culture exchange program. Write a report in 150 to 200 words of a school magazine. Now, here it is for school magazine, right? And the last one what we have done, that was for school, that was for newspaper. So the major difference I have told you, what is that? Only the format, in the format we don't need that by reporter and all that, and date and day is not needed for that. Rest complete entire format is of that kind. Okay, so the very first thing you have to give here and written here too, that is heading with byline. It is important here. So see what is the heading, cultural show with a difference, and byline by Reena, because the name is given here on in the question, Ram or Reena, so you can use any one. Now again the opening paragraph with the same description you have to give here, that is, let's see what is written here. Our school organized a cultural show in the school auditorium on 10th January 2000 whatever it is at 6 p.m. as part of cultural exchange program between India and Pakistan. The theme was friendship between countries. The chief guest was the Indian External Affairs Minister who inaugurated the show. So this is what the opening paragraph once again. Now in the second paragraph you have to give the details, right? So here you have to give the details. So let's see what are the details. A variety of performances including folk dances, drama, role play, Ravindra Sangeet and musical programs were staged. The role play stole the show due to its theme of the community and culture between the two countries and the fantastic acting of the children. The dances were both the classical ones, Kathak and Bharatnatyam, as well as the modern hip hop and rock. The rendering of various items of the Ravindra Sangeet by artists of both countries was highlight of the program and much appreciated by the audience. The Qawwali's sung by Bangladeshi group had the audience joining in the chorus, much of the delight of the chief guest. Now this is what? This is the detail, right? The second paragraph. You may divide it into two, that's okay. If you are writing in one, it will do. Next one is the conclusion part. The show concluded with a prize distribution ceremony honoring the talented children who had participated. Then the chief guest spoke congratulating the student for the excellent performances. Our principal, Mr. whatever the name is, you have to give here, proposed a vote of thanks. The function ended with the playing of national anthem of both countries. It was an evening to remember. So this is what here we have finished our report. So that was what an event. This was in sample to write down a report on an event. Okay. Next, see what is here. While writing a report on competition, so first thing you have to keep in mind, that is occasion or the organizer. Second is date, venue and objective. Third is name of the competition, level of the topic if any participation. Fourth is inauguration ceremony, welcome, chief guest and judges etc. Highlights of the related to the performance and the result etc. Then it is prize distribution, vote of thanks. After that, prize before vote of thanks, there would be special remarks and address. Okay, so these are the things which you have to keep in mind while writing a report on competitions. Next, if we want to write a report on the workshops, seminars and talks, so the things you have to remember, first is what, why, whom, for whom. Second is date, venue, duration etc. Third is guest, speakers, panel of experts etc. Fourth is chief guests or invitees etc. Fifth is activities undertaken. Fourth is aids used like MMP, audio visual charts, documentary films etc. Next one is literary or field activities if any. Next one is interactive session including question answers round if any. Experts, comments, vote of thanks and overall effect. So these are the things, these are the points which you have to keep in mind while writing a report on workshop, seminar and talk. The next one and the last one is for rallies, drives and campaigns. So here also what, by whom, then duration, venue or places covered, objectives or mottos if any, activities undertaken, any display, educational material used, for example placards, banners, pamphlets etc. Special remark by the dignitary or the chief guest etc. and last one is overall success. So note it down, take a screenshot and note in a notebook. And the last one is camp, visit, exhibitions etc. So here this is very common which we have to write down. So there, just take care here, place, destination etc. The second one is organizers or sponsors if any. Third one is duration, date etc. Fourth is number of person, visitors etc. Fifth is description as applicable, like theme of exhibition, type, range etc. quality of exhibits, place of sightseeing, food, scenic beauty etc. Last one is purpose and nature of camp, activities and undertaken, and the last one is overall response. So these are some of the reports which we have done. Please keep on practicing and keep on increasing your writing skill. Actually for writing we need an impact. We have to give a very when we start